Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. Today we're looking at a new team-up deck. This time it's going to be another one of those very powerful and hyped Zapdos builds. This time going to be paired alongside Jolteon-GX. I think this might be the strongest build of Zapdos that we can see. Jolteon is just a very powerful and very flexible card in lots of different situations, offering some nice sniping for early knockouts whilst also setting up damage for your Zapdos later down the line, or even setting up damage for the Jolteon as well. So I think we have a good blend here of the potential to use lots of non-GX attackers to take early prizes with Zapdos, and we can move into a more GX focus in the mid-game, using the likes of Jolteon, Tapu Koko, and Zeraora to knock out big threats on your opponent's side of the field. So I think we have a good number of options to try and take down a majority of decks right now. I do think this is a top-tier contender, and I think it's definitely got a lot of potential behind it. So let's talk about my list. First of all, we're going to play 4 copies of the Stellar Wish Jirachi. This ability is absolutely insane. Once during a turn, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, if this is your active, and put a trainer straight into your hand. So that's not item, that's any trainer card. So you can grab supporters, grab stadiums, grab your tools, all that good stuff. Then it puts itself to sleep. Obviously, we have lots of switching cards with the rope switches, Guzma's, Volkner can find the switches, and the escape board. So we have a lot of outs to negate the downside of this Jirachi. But the idea is this guy's going to help us assemble pieces throughout the game. Sometimes it's going to be early consistency, like getting nest balls going, looking for things like Adventure Bag, Ultra Ball, all that stuff, even just natural supporters, so to stop us bricking. But also it can help us assemble combo pieces like Electropowers for extra big damage turns that we need. So oftentimes we're going to have a couple Jirachis down on our board, moving in between them when we're doing our switching, our Guzmaing, and even just retreating before we get our main attacker into the active, whilst at the same time getting a lot of value from this ability. Really does provide a great early game draw engine for us. From there, we have Zapdos, 3 copies. It can be in non-GX matchups, just the bread and butter attacker that we use throughout. Thunderous Assault does 10 base for 1 lightning. And if this Pokemon was on your bench and became your active this turn, you do 70 more damage. Do bear in mind it doesn't hit for weakness, but 80 base is really good at knocking out, evolving basics quite easily. Can knock out opposing Jirachis, which is good because that's going to be important in the meta for sure. And you can be two-shotting GX Pokemon with the likes of Choice Band. You can ramp massively with Electropowers as well if you really want to spend a load of resources all at once. But this is just, in general, going to be great at picking off single prizes here and there, and also doing good, consistent damage just for 1 energy in the early game. Really, really good pressure that you put on the opponent with this guy. If you're going second, this deck loves it because you're doing these early Thunderous Assaults. Think of it like Buzzwole, where it would love to try and high roll like Beast Energy to get that early pressure on. This Zapdos can do it much, much easier, which is just absolutely insane. Notably, the card does have weakness to Lightning, which is awkward when you come up against Pikachu Zekrom, because they're going to be playing Raikous, and they can just do Raikou plus Electropower for knockouts, and they have 120 hit points, which is really awkward to get through. You do have a notable, nice resistance to fighting. Obviously, Buzzwole is still potentially around, and a few other fighting Pokemon around, and that really helps cover the weaknesses that Jolteon and Zeraora have as well. So if we are up against a fighting deck, we can mainline the Zapdos and keep the other guys in the back. And if we're up against lightning stuff, we can go into our Jolteon and Zeraora and try and keep Zapdos at bay. But at the same time, you don't really mind your Zapdos getting knocked out anyway, just because it's a non-GX. From there, we are playing the 2-2 line of Jolteon. Obviously, we're going to play the Energy Evolution Eevee. Jolteon-GX, I've already profiled this alongside a Decidueye deck. Here, I think he's even stronger, just because we have a more consistent shell to make him work. 200 base hit points isn't too shabby. This does have this awkward weakness to fighting. Obviously, Zoroark is going to be around, as well as some Buzzwole variants, which is kind of awkward. You do have a semi-relevant resistance to metal, if there is going to be these Doublade-based decks coming out. But Electro Bullet is literally Jet Punch, but we get to have the increase of Electropower. Such an amazing turn if you can lead an Eevee, and you can Volkner for your energy and an Electropower, because then you're doing 60 to the active, oftentimes knocking out evolving basics, and setting things up on the bench, be it a Lele for later on, something that's going to be evolving on the next turn. Just putting pressure on the opponent with these snipes is really helpful. And then it has 2 very efficient 2 energy attacks. Headbolt just does 110 vanilla, and Swift Run GX does 110, preventing all effective attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. This is a really strong effect. Really, really strong. It's similar to Dawnwing's Necrozma's GX attack, but you can do it even when you're ahead. So you get to keep your energy investment safe and force a Guzma from the opponent. And basically, if we can have a board of only non-GXs in the back, we can force a Guzma and try and skew the prize trade in our favor. So the Jolteon, usually if you get it out, it's probably going to carry 3 prizes on its own back and get us that far ahead. It's just a very, very efficient card. Again, with the ramp of Choice Band and the ramp of Electropowers, this gets some really good work in the deck. From there, going to play 1 copy of Tapu Koko-GX. He has Aero Trail, so if we have energy on other stuff, we can scoop it all onto him, get him into the active. Sky High Claws does 130, which is nice for knocking out some non-GX stuff, like Giratina's and Baby Buzzwoles, stuff like that Zapdos doesn't really want to get through. And it also offers the Tapu Thunder GX attack. This gets so much better in this format now that we have Pikarom and Eevee Snorlax. Those decks are 2 decks that love getting all the energy sticking on the board. So Tapu Thunder GX can really punish them. It's even good against the likes of Celebi Venusaur tag team. Just in general, this is a big old tag team slayer. Doing 50 times the amount of energy attached to all your opponent's Pokemon. This can really keep things in check. Even against sometimes like Zoroark, if they get like a DC on the active Zoroark and an energy on the bench Rockruff or whatever, you can go into the Tapu Thunder GX attack and just punish with prizes. If you're just in a race situation, you don't mind that the Koko will get knocked out in response, just because you're just all about keeping ahead in the race. That's what this deck is all about, really. We're going to play 1 copy of Zeraora-GX. His Thunderclap Zone ability is going to be really helpful if we come up against the likes of Absol, because Absol is trying to make our Jirachis not work. Zeraora at least means we can just pivot between our Zapdoses instead. And he also offers 2 attacks. Plasma Fists does get pretty dangerous, and when we have the support of Thunder Mountain and Koko Prism Star, it's actually not out of our reach at all. 160, and you can't attack next turn, but again, we're all about the race in this deck, so Choice Band Electropower, all I can do is repeat myself, but this ramps into big numbers as well. Full Voltage GX is an option for Mill, pretty much, so this is inherently a 1-card answer to Mill and can help out against Absol, so I think he's worth the space. Slightly awkward if you do lead him in non-GX matchups. I can see him being cut if you are concerned solely on like mirrors, but I think he does offer a lot, and he's also good in Zoroark matchups just because he's really easy to get knockouts if you're running low on Electro Powers after spending them early, for example. From there, just 2 more one-off cards. The Tapu Koko Prism Star, with its Dance of the Ancients ability, pops itself into the Lost Zone if it's on the bench, and you get to choose 2 Lightning Energy from your discard pile, pop them onto 2 of your benched Pokemon. Gonna be really awesome for you, obviously. It's great for charging up Jolteon out of nowhere, Zeraora out of nowhere, and even just so that we can steal the energies and Aero Trail. So basically for all of our big GX attackers, it can be nice. And again, if we're up against Absol shenanigans, we sometimes have to escape board and attach energies onto our Jirachis just to retreat. We can use the Koko just to refuel Zapdos. So we can even use it in that regard. Just a very strong card overall. I've talked about Absol a lot. It's a very good card in Mirror because you're trying to deny the opponents using Jirachi. It can also be very annoying for Malamar builds that are also trying to incorporate Jirachi, and pretty much any deck that's trying to incorporate Jirachi with Escape Board. This Dark Ambition ability, if your opponent's active, is a basic. It has 1 more retreat cost. Very simple, stopping Jirachi from retreating all the time, which is going to be nice because Jirachi is such a strong ability to shut off from the opponent, and it's obviously less invasive than playing Muck when we want to be using Jirachi ourselves. So that's the main idea. Shadow Seeker is surprisingly an attack I've actually had to use a few times, but not in this list because we're not playing Rainbows. But it's something to bear in mind. If people want to Nihilego you, they actually can take knockouts with Shadow Seeker. There is a different build that may incorporate some like Rainbow energies that I'll talk about later, so keep that attack in mind if you want to. It's more efficient than you think when you have Koko Prism as well. Onto the items. Adventure Bag is going to be a nice one-of. I think it's neat when you have Volkner to search this guy out. So often you'll need an escape board. You may as well grab a couple boards if you have a couple Jirachis down. Or you can grab 1 Choice Band, 1 board just to help your damage ramp, or just to have an extra discard fodder elsewhere, stuff like that. So the Adventure Bag helping you just have a little mini draw engine thanks to Volkner. Then 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher. I feel like you only need 1 copy when we have the 3 Zapdos and the 2/2 Jolteon as well as the Zeraora and Koko chipping in. I feel like we have plenty of options with just one stretcher being required. If you are in a non-GX matchup, it does mean that you probably have to use the second effect of stretcher on the Zapdoses just to recycle all of them. But that's the only real headache I can foresee. One copy of Escape Rope. It's really nice, especially early game. For, you know, if they only have 2 bench Pokemon down, you can target the one that they're trying to protect. It's also very strong against other Jolteon-GX attacks, Dawnwing's GX attacks, stuff like that. It's going to be really nice to try and get them out of the way with a Volkner rather than having to need Guzma on the certain turn. In addition to 2 Switch, we want to keep moving our Jirachis and getting as many Stellar Wishes off as possible. Then we're going to have 2 copies of Ultra Ball. Most of our things are basics that we want to search out. Even the Stage 1 Jolteon comes, you know, free from its ability, so we just need to max out the Nest Balls, and we're just going to have a couple Ultras to help make sure we can get things like Koko out, and also helps get Lightnings in the bin for us. Then we have the 4 ofs of the Nest Ball, amazing, just free search for us. Electropower, amazing damage buff that actually makes this deck tick pretty much. Then we move on to a couple of Stadiums. Thunder Mountain Prism Star, the attacks of your Lightning Pokemon cost 1 Lightning less. That's insane value. It lets the Zeraora into the game. It lets the Koko into the game sometimes. It lets your Jolteon get very cheeky and get Swift Run out of nowhere, which is awesome. I'm playing 1 Viridian Forest. The more I play this card, the more I like it. I just want it in basically every deck. I think it's so strong. Even just thinning a Lightning for a Lightning. It has synergy with Koko Prism, and you're just thinning cards to make your Jirachi stronger, and it's just all-round good news for you. I think this card is just really awesome, and I like playing 1 extra copy because we want to bounce other people's Prism Star Stadiums or Shrines and stuff like that, so definitely worth the slot in my opinion. On supporters, a couple copies of Kukui, because we need even more damage buff sometimes, and I feel like he's just a nice little extra supporter on top of all this, especially because Jirachi is going to be trying to accumulate a hand. You don't really want to Cynthia a whole lot if you're using Jirachis all the time. You don't really want to use a Lily because it'll be dead. Kukui nets you that extra couple of cards on top of everything else, so he's nice for extra damage buff and math fixing, and also just when you're in that loop of Jirachi, you're accumulating a hand constantly, and Kukui can help do the same thing. Then we have 4s of everything else. Volkner, awesome for grabbing energy cards, lets us play a fairly low count and get away with it, and can grab some specific things like our switching options, Adventure Bag for Escape Board, Electropowers for damage buff. Overall, he's just really useful in this deck. 4 copies of Guzma. We are very aggressive with our Zapdos, wanting to pick off things very early. Looking at Dittos to stop people getting mucked down against us is going to be a big deal. Obviously, Grimers as well we can try and target. And just whatever they're attaching energy to. If they're an evolving thing and they're attaching energy to it, we want that dead. So we want a Guzma all the time, basically. And then 4 copies of Cynthia, just a nice consistent card to have in the deck. 3 of each of the tools. I think having a high count of the choice bands and the Electropowers really is important because we do need these damage buffs in order to reach relevant numbers, so we just want to have high counts and not skimp out on those. 3 copies of a skateboard I think is plenty alongside the adventure bag. It's like playing a 4th copy in terms of having the out for it, but we don't have the physical copy. It's a little weak if there was more Field Blower, but I don't think it's that important in the format. And then just 8 lightning energies to round it out. I think it's plenty with Volkner. I've rarely found it an issue. We also have Viridian Forest for extra search, so it's plenty of options to find these energy cards, even though it's a fairly low count. So let's talk about some other card inclusions we could be considering. I think the main thing for me would be if we go to Rainbow Energies or Unit Energies, we can incorporate some new different attackers and try and get them rolling. One of the ones I most like is going to be Baby Buzzwole. Sledgehammer is a big burst of damage on a particular turn. Its type coverage is great in mirror matches if they put down Jolteon, great against Zoroark, and it basically means you can conserve a bunch of your Electro Powers for different turns, because you can just get through one Zoroark with just one attachment of a Rainbow. Or even when you have Viridian Forest, you could try and think about playing a basic fighting as well, which is getting really cheeky and clever. I think you'd have to put in a second Forest for that, but I think it's definitely a pretty cool option. And he's just so valuable against Pika, Rom as well. If they're going to go aggressive against you, you can just fully punish that. I think Nihiligo is the other thing that I would consider as a Rainbow Energy attacker. The final thing I will mention is you could think about playing something like Zeb Striker in the deck. I've had it in my Shrine build, Zebstrika, again, Raid does 120 vanilla damage and is just slightly stronger than something like Zapdos each turn. But mainly I'm thinking about Sprint here to have an answer to Muck. If it does come into play, it does become very awkward for you. Obviously, Jolteon can deal with it quite nicely with those Guzmas, but it's awkward for prize racing that you have to get through that guy and put yourself on odd prizes sometimes. So having that Sprint as a fallback is pretty reasonable. I think my biggest headache of Sprint is that we're oftentimes, as I said, trying to accumulate the hand, and there's a small anti-synergy between those two factors of trying to Sprint and collate a hand at the same time. So let me know what you guys think about the list, and we'll jump into the ladder now, and we'll have a few games with it. I think this archetype is very strong, though. I saw Lightning and Metal from our opponent, so they might just be playing a pure Zapdos Jirachi. We do have Absol, and we start double Jirachi. We're going second as well, so if we can manipulate our way into a turn 1 attack, we can just be ahead in the race and just not lose, basically. Which sounds silly, but as simple as it is, that is the case. I think Absol is the only mirror tech you can really consider. He is playing Max Potion, which is interesting, and Blower. So with this adventure bag, we can't just go nuts with both escape boards. But we have to bear those things in mind. If he plays Max Potion, I would have thought he'd be playing Jolteon. But I didn't see that. Oh, okay, he's playing Pikarom. Pikarom with Max Potion. Okay, good to know. He's only Lilying for 3. That's not the best. A big tag team on the board straight away is pretty good for us. He's just going to pass it over to us. We draw into our second choice band, so we are going to pull out both boards here. And ideally, this Stellar Wish gets us into Volkner. That's the best outcome. We get Ultra Ball. It's not the worst. We could be going for Escape Board, switch into our third Jirachi if we keep whiffing. So we have basically 3 chances to try and get a Volkner here. There we go. Volkner's going to grab ourselves Nest Ball and Lightning Energy. We just want to get Zapdos down, I think, here. We have an interesting choice. Actually, no, we don't. We just have to switch. I'll still put this down, I think. I will commit the band as well. I think it's reasonable here. Although we've seen Max Potion, but I imagine it's a one-off just because he plays Volkner and Jirachi. I can't imagine him playing more than one, really. And even if he uses it, he's just putting himself like out of attachments anyway at the moment. There's another Pikarom. Okay, so he might be Max Potioning then. Erica's for 4. Okay. Hit the max pot. And a pass. So now we just hit the other one that's more relevant now. And this is where you start seeing the Jirachi combos. Every time we pivot, we first get our Zapdos out of the way, and then we get Jirachi value. That's pretty much the play. Thunder Mountain's a card we definitely don't want to put down for him. That's far too scary. We're just going to hit him for 110 again. There's the Koko Prism Star. Skateboards the back. Would be nice for us to get a whatchamacallit down. Absol, but he's not actually been using the Jirachi just yet. He's going to Lily for another couple cards. And just full blitz for the knockout. So we have Stretcher, Band, Electropower to knock this guy out to take our first 3 prizes. which sounds pretty strong. If he wants to full blitz again, we can just win with a Tapu Koko-GX. There's Viridian Forest to get ourselves energy as well. So there's literally nothing that we need this turn. How do we want to develop this hand, though? I feel like we can do stuff with this hand. I don't feel like I want to Viridian away the Zeraora just yet. He could be good. Especially because I'm using my Stretcher this turn. I'm going to Viridian... No, I am going to Viridian this guy away. I just want to check some stuff. Yeah, we do have our Koko-GX. Cool. So we're going to Stellar Wish here. Cynthia is nice, actually. I'm going to take that for the reload of this hand. Because we're dumping literally every card but Ultra Ball here. So 8, 110, 140. Attach Cynthia. We have switches and Guzmas. We have Ultra Ball for next turn. There'll be 2 lightnings in our discard pile next turn. So I think we're just saving this. Because we need to, next turn we need to get Koko-GX and Koko Prism. That's basically it. Look at that, 3 prizes. Stuff of legend. Okay, so there's Nest Ball and Ultra Ball. So if he wants to full blitz, he'll just lose. Even if he just pops the Koko Prism Star and develops lots of different attackers, he'll lose. If he goes more conservative with Zapdos, he doesn't lose. Just yet. But it's too late for him to go for a Zapdos back and forth, back and forth. It's just not good for him. Too late for that now. It's 5 and 3. He's going to Viridian away a Stretcher for a lightning. He does have 3 lightnings in his bin. If he wants to pop the Koko, he'll be in bad shape. He's going to grab that Field Blower. That's actually frustrating for us. Two escape boards going down. Does make life a little more difficult for us. Let's see what he wants to do. Yeah, he doesn't quite want to go all in. But we don't need to get too fancy here. We can just Zapdos respond on his Jirachi with a Guzma. If he wants to just do this sort of mucking around with Zapdos, we're just so far ahead. Do I ever bin any more energies here? Just to thin out the deck. I feel like we can get rid of this. Let's Stellar Wish. One thing we don't have is Volkner in our hand, so I'll take it for options. Just gonna Guzma. So we're at 200 against this Pikarom at the moment, so if he attaches 1 more energy anywhere, he'll be dead. He might be trying to ramp to his Tag Bolt GX attack here. That's the only way, in theory, he can catch up if we just do a Zapdos fight from now on. He's going to recover these two pieces. Seems good. He's just going to keep on with the Zapdos charge. Makes sense. That's 5 energies. That's 250. Oh, he's doing everything. He's doing it all. That's a lot of energies. Energies. Well played. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 energy. That's plenty. Interesting mechanics of the thingamajig. There's our boy. Yep, that'll do. That's why Koko-GX is a beast. Nice first win. Always good to beat Pikarom. It's a threat in the format, for sure. Looks like we have another mirror of sorts. Everyone's trying out the new Zappy stuff, looks like. Can't blame them. Can't blame them. They're flashy, they're cool, they're powerful. A lot of people think this deck's true test is against Zeraora that tries to muck you out of the game. We're going second again, so if we're in a mirror situation, we can just go ahead and stay ahead. Ah, this is not a mirror, I don't think. They have Wobbuffet to deny Koko Prism Star. Feels bad, man. Maybe we kill it. Maybe. So Koko is actually a threat for this deck, because we don't want to, like, normally we would want to swarm the board with lots of Jirachi and try and spam abilities all over the shop. But because, I mean, he hits the Zapdos for weakness, and he's annoying for our Jirachi because they have low hit points. So it's definitely a matchup we're a little on the fence about. This shot's off his own thing, right? Yeah. So he just discarded 2 lightnings, and he can't get them back with Wob. So he's a mirror that plays a Koko. That's interesting. I wonder if he's going to Nest Ball an Absol here. Nope. Is he going to retreat into... Yeah. We can try and punish this by getting an Absol down if we want to, but I feel like we want to keep up on the Jirachi hype against him as well. He's just going to grab a Guzma. Fair. Is he going to get an attachment in or no? I guess it's not really much point when his deck is all 1 attachment. Okay. Cool. So, that's Volkner. We already have Escape Board in hand, so we don't need that. I think we're just going to grab a Nest Ball. And we'll grab another Jirachi. I think I still take second Jirachi over Absol. It's good to know that Absol's in deck, but I think we still take second Jirachi, just because we don't want to get stuck on a board without one. I'll take another Volkner here. And we're in the race, and it's down to him to stop us. On one turn or another. Picking up Nest Ball is nice. That's our next Zapdos. I need to check if our stretch is in deck, actually. That's really important. Because the race can be put to a halt if I run out of Zapdos, of course. He's just going to grab Thunder Mountain. Still gets a Volkner. Does he want to replenish another Jirachi? No, he's going Electropower, so he's killing the active. Oh, of course, because he Volknered. Well, I guess he could have roped as well. But no. Electropower through us. Obviously, the Zapdos don't hit for weakness, so you have to spend one Electropower if you're going to fight Zapdos with Zapdos. So, Zapdos, let's see, Stretcher is in here, cool. I think this turn we want to develop Absol with our Volkner. I mean, we don't have a backup Switch card, that's the only downside, but if he's not taking a prize in our Zapdos, it's always fine, right? It's always fine. So we definitely want Lightning, and I think we just get that Absol. The only downside of a one Rescue Stretcher build is that it's harder for us to cycle Absol. I'm going to take a Switch card over a supporter. That's how much we value just taking a prize each turn with Zapdos. This is definitely going to be a bit of back and forth, and it might get a little tedious just seeing the same thing over and over again, but literally all he can do is try and stop us doing this every turn. That's literally all he can do. It may be slightly easier because he has the Wobbuffet to try and stop our Koko for a replenishment of energies. We do have Absol though, so I feel favoured in mirrors if we play Absol. Just immediately. Jolteon's not even bad in mirrors either, because you can just Swift Run, force a Guzma anyway, and just keep using Swift Run. So if you're low on Electro powers, he's not even bad in mirror. So he's going to Jirachi. The switch over Cynthia was a little bold, I'll admit it. But we get to look at like 11 cards if the Zapdos gets knocked out. He's just going to Stellar Wish for Volkner. This is the good thing. We start making him spend switches just to move his Jirachi each turn. That's what's really cool. He does have Thunder Mountain in his hand still though from a couple turns ago, so he may just attach to the active and retreat and Thunder Mountain. That's another option for him. Wonder why he plays the Wobbuffet. You've got to be ahead in this match. Like, you're already ahead against Pikarom. You really don't need this for Pikarom. I guess this is what he's doing to stop people going Ditto Muck. Maybe that's what he does. That's pretty cool. Because then you just need to gust up Grimy Boy. That makes sense. Okay, he's going to stretch back his own Jirachi. He's going to rope. I'm going to make him have the Electropower. We can feel confident about this because we've already taken a switch. He's going to take nothing. Yep, looks like attached board Thunder Mountain is his play. No Electropower, that's nuts. That's nuts. We're so far ahead now. So far ahead. We just take Guzma. We just want more pivots. That's all we care about. And we want to Guzma this turn anyway, right? That's guaranteed knock. It also means we can get an extra Stellar Wish. Now I think we can take a Cynthia. We can use our Thunder Mountain, or his Thunder Mountain. And now we're just very far ahead. He may be a little unfortunate to... But remember, he Volknered for an escape rope. And, like, if the Absol wasn't there, he could have just Volknered for Electropower. So, we forced him to do this, basically. I feel pretty comfortable at this point. We're definitely very ahead. He's just having to grab Switch. He still needs Electropower. Kukui only gets him to 100. Yep. I think the person going second is always very favored in a Zapdos mirror, unless they lead a Zapdos. And also, the person going first has to put Absol down to try and make it hard for them. Oh hey, it's Tord. Hello there, Tord. Your 100 wins comes to an end, friend. Let's see what he's playing. Let's see what he's got. Oh, hello. Okay. I'm intrigued. I'm very much intrigued about what's going on here. Oh, man. What is all I can say? All I can say is the word what. I know that Zapdos is good at knocking out Jirachis, though. That's what I know for certain. We have our Koko Prism. We have Zeraora. It looked like he had some stalling tools available to him. So we'll play with a bit of caution here. Yeah, I'm already slowing down just as it's Tord. I don't want to make mistakes now. I feel like we can attach. Volkner should be used this turn. Just for switch energy, I guess. Then I can Adventure Bag, pull out a Choice Band, get rid of it. Because we saw he was playing Fossils, right? So we'll just get rid of one with Ultra Ball for a Jirachi. And I think we can get rid of an energy when we have Viridian in hand. Synergy with Koko. We'll grab this. I think we just pass. I don't want to get too greedy with my escape board. Judge's whistle. Here we go. What's the latest toward combo deck? That's the question. Get your notepads out, folks. Well, some sort of fossil deck. I'm excited. What a broken card. The good news is it looks like he's relying on Jirachi, and we're going to try and Dark Ambition to deny that Jirachi as much as possible. That's the good news here. Yeah, he's definitely some sort of stally deck. Definitely. I mean, there's no doubt there, huh? Does this give up a prize? Yeah, it's a 60 hit point basic, right? I feel like Jolteon's going to be good in this matchup for sure. I want a Viridian first. Do I ever feel confident enough to get rid of a Stretcher? No. Hello. This seems fine. I guess I could just Volkner for something. Let's grab Lightning and Electropower, I guess. No, Lightning and Switch for sure. I feel confident that we've got Zeraora in here now, though. I can use the GX to recover attachments, and we can use the GX to give ourselves some more free retreat that he can't deny with the stadium. I wonder if he's going to Viridian Forest. I wonder what energy he plays, if any. Okay, here we go. We do, of course, play Thunder Mountain. I've got a cat running around. Hold on. Playing with a bottle cap. That's annoying me. He's playing something wild. We'll get into our Jirachi. We have Switch anyway, just in case he's going to do any weird denial stuff. I'm so interested in what's happening here. I don't know how I'm losing, but somehow I am. And I just don't know it yet. That's the fun. What sort of combo is he assembling? I just don't know anymore. We'll take another prize, I guess. What's going on here? I'm guessing he's some sort of trapping deck. I'm not sure. He's definitely trying to trap, I think. Like, you can just discard these at any moment. So, like, he has a bench, but he can just remove everything and just leave an attacker I can't deal with on the board. I think that might be part of his mentality. I really don't know, though. There's got to be a reason for these fossils. I just don't know what yet. There's something fishy going on here, Tord. Let's give him a surprise face. just to keep him honest. Okay, he's going to judge us. He's thinking if he wants to judge us or not. Okay. We get a Guzma, we're happy. Or a Volkner, depending on what we need to do. Here we go. No supporter cards. Toward you, spicy man. Looks like we're hitting for 10 and arrow trailing next turn. No. There's no way. Oh, I'm fuming. I'm fuming! Oh, I'm livid. Obviously, the Wonder Labyrinth is in play, so we can't really do much anyway. But... well, we've come towards just being able to top deck stuff. Seen 2 counter energies so far. Okay, buying himself some time. What fun we're having. Towards broken Kabutops. Oh man. Oh, just get rid. Who needs it? Disrespecting me. Okay. We're just passing, bud. That's why. That's the board sweep, right? The fossils get rid of themselves. That's the thing we were talking about. Wow. This is crazy. It is items, right? Yeah, items. Well, we're having fun, Tord. We're having fun together. We're both having fun right now. You can't tell me otherwise. Oh my god, is he unknown hand? Wait, what? Can't be unknown hand. He's played too many item cards. Surely. I don't know what's going on. Huh? Did he not know that counter energy didn't work on thingy? On a GX? On that bombshell, I'm gonna leave you all because that was so weird and I need to message him at pace. Okay. Probably a video tomorrow. Bye.